We're going to jump into some high school football talk and welcome in Coach Dennis Thomas of the Millville Thunderbolts. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's everything going?
Pretty good, man. So you guys have gone from the goat to the hero in a span of a couple weeks here, right?
Yeah. Kids are playing really good ball.
What's obviously you guys had a really tough schedule there the first couple of weeks. Now, when you schedule those games and you're taking losses like that, how do you keep the kids from getting demoralized? I mean, obviously they know they're up against good competition, but they want to win just as much as the coaching staff and the fans. How do you kind of keep the ship going in the right direction until you can start picking up a couple of wins and getting back on track?
Yeah, so the key in that is to make sure that you're instilling, you do the things that you do when you were winning. My coaching staff and I, we've always been a part of winning programs. So when we were on a stretch of 0-3, we just continued to do the correct things, and we really had to implement some strict rules. And if the kids didn't follow those rules, they were dismissed. So we didn't want a losing culture, a losing mentality in the minds of our kids. So we had to really enforce some strict discipline.
That's a great point, Coach, because when you're talking about a high school football season, it can really go off the rails in the span of 2 to 3 weeks if you play poorly one week and all of a sudden next thing you know you have 2 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row. You might start to lose these kids mentally, and it's a challenge for a coaching staff. I mean, you see that at school like EHT where now they've kind of bounced back. They're 3-4. They're closing in a maybe possible playoff spot. Says a lot about the coaching staff when you can keep a team together when things aren't going right.
Yeah, and it also, kudos to the players that decide to stick out the ride, man. Those guys, I tell you, they fought extremely hard. They practiced hard. If you came to a practice during that 0-3 stretch, you would have thought that we were like undefeated because the intensity stayed at an all-time high. We were coaching extremely hard week in and week out, and the kids just continued to do a phenomenal job.
Now, Coach, during that 3-game losing streak to start the season, did you feel like you were playing up to your potential and just were up against some really good competition, or were there things that were keeping you from winning those games that you had to clean up?
Now, well, the difference between greatness and good and good and average is consistency. So we saw a lot of sparks or a lot of spurts of our kids doing some really good things. For instance, our offense was in the red zone 14 times during our 0-3 span, but we only scored 3 touchdowns. So if we were to put it together, if we were more consistent, then those games could have been extremely different. There would have been different ball games. So we realized that we played extremely good teams throughout the state, not only the state but the country. We knew we could play good ball, but we had to become consistent, and that was the difference between us winning games and losing games.
Talk with Coach Dennis Thomas of Millville Thunderbolts. And Coach, what's it like going up against a team like St. Peter's Prep? I mean, there's some grown men on that team.
Yeah. You know what? It's great. And I tell you what, the St. Peter's game, we were in the red zone. We were on the 1-yard line 2 times in the first half. The score honestly could have been 22-6 Millville going into halftime. But we turned the ball over. We did some things that was uncharacter. So I knew we had a good team going in. I knew what our team was. I knew the character of our side. But it's phenomenal to play a powerhouse like that because it sets the parameter of where you stand within some of the teams in this country, some of the great teams in the country.
What were some of your guys thinking in warm-ups when they're watching these guys and you're seeing, almost an entire team of Division I talent facing you on the other side? Some of those kids must have been like, whoa, man, this is big boy football right here.
Yeah, I tell you what, our guys did. They look at those guys and say, man, they're big time guys. However, the mentality of our kids is we about to take this game to them. We were ready for them.
Nice.
that's the city of Millville, man. These kids, they don't fear any opponent. They don't fear any competitor. If you come in and play Millville, you're going to get a fight. That's what we do. We fight.
That's an interesting point, Coach. I mean, these kids, it seems like they kind of take on that mentality of that town. Like, in the past 20 years, how many times has Millville been counted out as a town and as a group, and they just keep grinding. There a lot of that blue collar work ethic, and Mike Trout comes out of there and he's a grinder. He kind of embodies what that town's all about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Mike Trout's a phenomenal individual. Not just a great player, but a great person. We got Rockwell Armstead at Temple,
Yep.
Quan Bowman at Texas Tech, Antoine White at Albany. I mean, we have a lot of guys throughout college, pros playing really good ball, but they're all grinders, man. They all work extremely hard. In the city of Millville, they instilled that from the midget level, and our midget program is one of the best in the country, and those guys continue to feed not just great talent but great kids. And the mindset is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to instill a great work ethic, and we're going to play hard.
Coach, what is it about that town? I mean, whenever you look on a schedule, whether you're field hockey, basketball, baseball, you see Millville on the schedule, you're like, all right, we got to tie the cleats on a little bit tighter today, boys.
Yeah. Listen, Millville, we grind, man. I tell you, it happens when the kids are young. President of our midget program, Rob Ennis, Gerald Ortiz, vice president. Those guys, man, they make sure things are ran the correct way. Our field hockey program, our basketball, our baseball program, soccer program, we're trying to be winners, not just on the field, but off the field as well.
Talking with Coach Dennis Thomas of Millville Football. And, Coach, real quick before we let you go, what's it like in a high school locker room when you start winning 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row, now you're at 5 in a row? It's got to be so much fun being around these kids. They believe in themselves. They want to get to the next game. They want to get to practice on Monday. They want to lift on Saturday morning. It's got to be such a different atmosphere when you start winning a couple games.
Yeah, it's a completely different atmosphere, man, and I don't want it any other way. It's electric. It's positive. It's like positive reinforcement. It's so phenomenal, and you just, if I could put that feeling in a bottle and give it to someone and sell it, I'll be a multi-billionaire. That's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
And I'm sure it gets your assistant coaches all jazzed up too. They're coming up with new plays, new schemes. I mean, they're probably texting you at midnight, "Hey, coach, I got an idea."
Yeah. I have some of the greatest assistant coaches in the world, man. And listen, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for my assistant coaches helping me out. Everyone has a role. Everyone does their role, and that's what's important, man. Knowing your role, executing your role, and success will follow.
Well, Coach, Nick Costco, my producer, his favorite player is Tex Thompson. So tell Tex he's got a big fan over here at ESPN Radio.
Listen, Tex Thompson, man, that boy, he's the most underrated running back in this jersey. But he's one of the hardest runners I've ever been around.
Coach, I'm clamoring for a jersey. Tell Tex, get me a jersey, and I'll hang it up here in studio.
Hey, I'll get you a jersey.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Finally, someone's listening to me.
You got to go straight to the top.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Coach, man, we appreciate the time, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get those boys working hard. You got playoffs coming up, and so we're rooting for you, man. Have a great rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation, man. Y'all have a great day.
Hey, you can talk football with us anytime, Coach.
All right. Thank you.